Hello guys, myself Dr. Kanta. Here I am going to present these videos in context of UGC NET syllabus. So this is my first video on Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. As we all know, this is first great Victorian novel by Charlotte Bronte, who wrote this under the pseudonym Currer Bell. And earlier, women had no rights to write with their own names, so that's why they used to write under the pseudonym. So, same was Charlotte Bronte, who write under the name Currer Bell. Charlotte Bronte belonged to the early Victorian period and she was born in 1816 at Thornton. From the point of view of examination UGC NET, you need a little bit of introduction of this writer as well because she is very famous. Her father was Patrick Bronte, who was an Irishman and curate of Haworth, and her mother was Mary Bronte, who died in 1821. So basically, she was. They were five sisters and one brother. Charlotte was the third one, and the eldest was Maria. So, who is called in Jane Eyre as Helen Burns. Charlotte studied in clergy daughters school. She studied there and which she portrayed also in Jane Eyre as Lowood school. So this is important. She studied in clergy daughters school and this is portrayed in Jane Eyre as Lowood school. She also worked as a teacher in Miss Wooler School during 1835 and 1838. So normally there are 2 marks questions on all these aspects, so which we have to keep in mind. So I will suggest you all please keep these things in your mind. She was also governess in 1892, and same year her aunt died. Many sad things happened in her family. She worked there as a teacher also. She was deeply involved Mr. M. Hager, who did not respond her love favorably. So she was very disappointed and unhappy, started living unhappily. She was very fond of composing poetry and she has wrote collection of poems which was published in 1846, and her first novel was The Professor, which is also important because many times we have to find the this match the followings or which work is not by Charlotte Bronte. So there this will help you. So The Professor is by Charlotte Bronte, which was published posthumously in 1857, and her next novel was Jane Eyre, which was published in 1847. Again there can be 2 marks question on when the Jane Eyre published, so you can remember 1947, similarly 1847. So this way it will help you to keep this in mind. It was quite successful and it was under the pseudonym Currer Bell, as I already told you, because she has to hide her identity. But later it was disclosed in 1848, just after the 1 year of publishing of this Jane Eyre. Then there is her brother as well in the family. Two of her sisters died, and then brother died. So many upheavals took place in her family, and then her surviving two sisters dies with the few upcoming years, and there was so much of deaths in her family. So this causes disturbance, psychologically disturbed her as well. She started writing and she continued writing and finished her third novel Shirley, which was published in 1849. So first was Professor, that is posthumously 1857, but it was the first. Then Jane Eyre 1847, and then is Shirley 1849. So keep these three things, three novels in your mind. Then you can see her last novel was Villette, which was published in 1853, which is very important as well. And it was based on the memoirs of Brussels, and she married a curate named A.B. Nicholas. So, but she died a few months later in 1855. So, these all aspects are important from the exam point of view. Her contribution to literature was important, and she has developed many novels. Like I told you, Professor, she has written in 1846, and then she has published in 1857. It is talking about her experiences in Brussels, and the same theme is followed in her novels Village. And then there are Professor, I will tell you the story in brief, as I have prepared some notes on this as well. So, principal character is William Crimsworth and Orphan, and who goes to Brussels for seeking his fortune there, who was looking for a fortune. He teaches English and falls in love with his student, and he was teaching English there. Then he was in in love with his student. And name is Francis Henry, so it is important. Character, normally we have to match the character also. So Francis Henry's character in the Professors, she is a Protestant, and the headmistress, Joraide Ritter, is a Christian. So she is contrasted with Francis' honesty and modesty. William has no rapport with the headmistress and resigns his post. He finds a better job and is able to marry his beloved. So this way, this story ends as they both get married. Jane Eyre is again about an orphan girl left to the care of Mrs. Reed, and she used to take her burden. She did not like her. She thought she is burdened why she is in our family, and her unsympathetic behavior roses Jane's spirit. She is sent to Lowood Institution, and Miss Temple superintends there. Jenny completes her education and becomes a teacher. She somehow tried to complete her education, and then she became a teacher. She became a governess for the master's illegitimate child. And Adele at Thornfield, she was the mistress of illegitimate child of Adele at Thornfield. And the master, Mr. Rochester, is fascinated by her sharp wit. They fall in love, and there she was in love with Rochester. As we know, this is the story of Rochester and Jen. So they both fall in love, and on the wedding day an interruption is caused. Marriage fails and Jenny flees. Then she reaches Moore House. It is learned later that the inmates St. John, Dinah, and Mary are her cousins, and she inherits money from her uncle. She is rather compelled to marry St. John, but a telepathic call by Mr. Rochester detains her, and she returns to Thornfield, then to Ferndean, and she and Mr. Rochester marry there, and a son is born to them. They lead a happy life. But there are many problems. This is very lengthy novel. There are many problems, many issues she is facing. Many things came in her life. She led a very unhappy married life, so which will I be discussing in the next video in detail. Right now I'm just briefing all the four novels which are important. Then there is a Shirley, which was written in 1849, and this novel is relates to Yorkshire. So basically the background is important where the novel belongs. So this is belong to Yorkshire. A mill owner, Robert Gerard Moore, tries to introduce the latest labor saving machinery. Who tries to introduce the labor saving machinery? The workers protest it and attack on him and his mill, because um, workers don't like to machines to be replaced, because it was 19th century. As we all know, this was a period of industrialization, so everybody was replacing the labor with the machines, and this will be creating unemployment. So that's why labor protested against this, and they attacked the Robert Gerard Moore. When in financial difficulties, he approaches Shirley Kidler, who was an heiress, and Robert loves her cousin Caroline Helston. She also loves him deeply. Robert's love is rejected by Shirley. She loves Robert's brother Louis, and she started loving Robert's brother Louis, which was also important episode. So misunderstandings come to an end. Robert and Caroline marry, so do Shirley and Louis. The character of Shirley is quite based on Charles' sisters, Emily. So Emily Bronte, you know very well character, Wuthering Heights, she has written. So basically maybe she is talking in this novel about her sister. Then there is a Willet, like the professor. This novel is based on the pupil teacher love relationship and how the student and teacher fall in love with each other. Lucy Snow is the narrator who became a teacher in Willet. She wins the respect of the headmaster mistress, Madam Back, and Lucy feels deep attachment towards Dr. John Bretton. Later, she turns her heart to Madam Back's cousin, M. Paul Emmanuel. She was in. She turns her heart to Madam Back's cousin, whose name was M. Paul Emmanuel. M. Paul leaves on business to West Indies and then he started working there. The story ends in ambiguous. It was confusing. Nothing is concluding. No hand was given there. So basically all these four novels are important, so keep remember the four things, four datas. Again I'll tell you, the professor is written in 1846, first novel by Jane Eyre, then the second Charlotte Bronte, then the second is Jane Eyre 1847, the third is Shirley, which is talking about the mills and attack on the Robert, and this is in 1849, and fourth is Willard in 1853. So all these four novels are important. Then I will be discussing Jane Eyre in detail in my next video. So please do watch my video, like and subscribe. Thank you so much.